Live.
We're live. We're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on, Cletus.
Come on.
Like my synapses aren't firing. I was in Baton Rouge this weekend. Hold on. Got some free gear. Went to the LSU Bama game. Didn't work out for the Tigers, for the home team there, but bucket list item for me. And my good friend Ryan Rosillo, who's everybody knows, he's embedded with the Tiger faithful. He said, hey, I got a ticket. Go watch the game on the sideline, that sort of thing. Have fun. Go to walk-ons. Go to Fred's. Shout out to the good people of the boot. That state is elite. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like the state of Louisiana. It is the most unique state in the United States. I mean, it is so different. It's so awesome. Everybody's so welcoming. I didn't have a bad interaction the whole weekend. Not a single one. It's like, hey, welcome to Baton Rouge. Can we do anything for you? You know, can I get you some jambalaya, dude? I was like at a tailgate. Guy just hands me food. It's incredible. The hospitality. Love that place. Really, really do. I get it. Now I know. Well, when I was like 18, not 18, I was a little bit younger, and I got a letter from LSU, and I came home and I was like, Dad, I want to go to LSU. And he was like, the coach isn't going to be there long. His name was Nick Saban. So certainly a fun atmosphere. And shout out to my Wahoos who beat Pitt this weekend. So, you know, I got to go down there. Shout out to walk-ons. Shout out to Fred's. Shout out to Bill Wennington. I met Bill Wennington just out of nowhere. Bill Wennington hanging out down there with his son. It was super cool. Walked to the game with Bill Wennington, just shooting the shit. Yeah, it was awesome. Shout out to Stanford Steve. Stanford Steve was down there in the rain. It started dumping. We went up to the luxury box, and Steve was like, I'm staying down on the field. And when he came up, he was just drenched. He was just watching ball, hands on knees, hands on his knees, watching ball, seeing how the dudes on the field are fit in power. So shout out to all those guys. Big shout out to Brandon. Started walk-ons. Just there's so many guys I met down there. It's like, bro, I got an LSU family now. I get it. I get why Ryan Rosillo loves LSU. So I got to hear Mel McDaniel on the field. Louisiana Saturday night. They play it. I mean, the whole Tuscaloosa, Dixieland Delight thing, that was pretty incredible. But I love Mel. So that was damn near close. So shout out to the boot. Shout out to the people of the boot. It's an incredible place. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. Had a lot of shots of Fireball. Met a lot of green light listeners down there. We got some reach. Some of the homies in the boot, man. We got locals down in Louisiana. So hey, tomorrow's gonna be a fun show. All the boys in Studio J. Right now, this is just me from the home office live after the 4 p.m. That's kind of a thing we're doing now. So just to hit you with a couple things. I mean, obviously, I thought the game of the week was going to be Steelers Commanders with everything riding on it. If you'd have told me, the Steelers were going to do some of the things they did and still come out of that game winners, I think the Steelers might be pretty good. And it's funny that our barometer now for like, is a team pretty good, is like going to Washington and winning. Jayden Daniels, even in a game where he didn't play his best, I mean, he still makes some wild throws. I mean, there are throws on the field every week when you watch him play that you're like, yep, he's that dude. Now he missed some throws. I think he missed McCaffrey in a big spot. There were some drops, things like that. But this game ultimately, to me, came down to the Steelers' toughness. Their resilience. I mean, just spent the entire second half. First, Washington gets 2 for 1, punches them in the mouth right out of the half, go right to the in cuts, and march down the field. And it ends up being a 2-possession ball game. The Steelers 6 weeks ago couldn't win that game. No chance. And that is the difference. I mean, there's a lot of differences in having Russell Wilson playing the way he's playing and quarterbacking this team, but they're not winning that game, with Justin Fields. And they also didn't, and maybe that's not too fair to Justin Fields, but I think that demanded a certain veteran presence to get through that deal. And they took a lot of shots in the second half. At certain times I was like, hey, too many shots to guys not named George Pickens and now Mike Williams. I'm not as into, but I thought they could have just ran the ball. They stayed aggressive, even backed up the entire second half. It was a field position nightmare for them in the second half, and they just stayed at it. The toughness of that team to be in that situation on the road, sort of, because the Steel City Mafia was, I mean, they took that thing over. I'm gonna be fair to my friends in DC, but that group travels. So that was an incredible atmosphere and an incredible opportunity for a team like Pittsburgh to go out and prove it to themselves. I mean, they already know what they got in that locker room. That's why they went out and made 2 trades, which, by the way, both of those trades they've already paid off in some ways. Mike Williams, obviously, with the play of the day. I mean, George Pickens' circus catch earlier in the game was incredible. That guy, I said this last year, I said he's got Hall of Fame potential, and y'all laughed at me. I'm just telling you, this dude, when he's not halfway committed to hurdling 2 guys with the ball, carrying the ball like a loaf of bread in his left hand, face masking somebody, he's an agent of chaos. But when you throw the ball up to that guy and you're like, hey, let's see if you can catch the ball, I trust him. 50-50 ball. It's more like 70-30 with him. And so now you add Mike Williams to the equation. And at the end of that game, he goes up top to Mike, and Mike with an incredible job tracking that football. I mean, I don't think people know how hard that is in that spot. You just got here. Not to mention, not wanting to let your teammates down. Do you know how hard it is to be an NFL player in general, but also like the pressure on a guy like that? Imagine 3 weeks ago, they had him on the McAfee show. They're talking about, hey, he's on the wrong side of the red line. I take no issue with Rodgers saying what he said. I mean, there's some people that say, hey, don't throw your teammate under the bus. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm not going to get on my soapbox about it. He wasn't on the right side of the red line in a big spot. A lot of guys, it would be going through their head. New situation, big moment. They're going to me. Am I going to fuck this up? That little voice in your head. You got to get rid of that voice. And good on Mike Williams, who's a vet, and he probably has finally found, again, I talked this last week, he spent most of his career in football purgatory in LA in the pre-Harbaugh era in LA. Reid's inspecting the TikTok. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we're good on TikTok. He survived all that, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to escape right when it looks like it's going well, right, for the Chargers. By the way, nice win today. And he ends up in New York, and he's in the 7th circle of hell. He is. And to wind up in Pittsburgh, a lot of people probably said, hey, Mike Williams is washed up. Look at what he's doing in New York. Well, if he's washed up, that's a pretty good beach to wash up on there, Pittsburgh. I mean, that is a great place to play football, and I'm sure he wanted to put his best foot forward week 1, and he did. I mean, now he's a dude in that locker room. That's how it works. So good on him. Incredible play. Really gutsy by the Steelers in the second half. This game really came down to mistakes, guys. Multiple hollow man candidates on both teams. I mean, the only saving grace for people like James Pierre, who, by the way, he muffed that or dropped the fake punt, which was a little much. It was a little rich. And hey, it was there. So it's one of those things, and I've talked about this before with coaches going for it on 4th and short, like Shane Steichen at the end of the season last year giving the ball to Minshew, put it in the flat, and it's open. The play's there to make. There's other scenarios. Saquon Barkley in the flat on offense against Atlanta early in the season, where you're like, hey, it makes it complicated. You want to jump on the coach for making a stupid call or whatever, or making an aggressive decision, but then it's there. And like their offensive lineman, you trust to catch that ball. So this dude, when the Steelers really should be thinking about, hey, let's choke the life out of these guys. Let's run the football. We got a 1-touchdown lead. They're playing with their food. And it ends up being a situation where this guy has to play meaningful snaps later in the game because Dante Jackson goes down. Another element of toughness, mental toughness. Yeah. And he was cut by the Commanders in camp. That's what Nolan told me. So you had the Zacchaeus muff, and then you had the Warren fumble, and the game ends on Newton offsides. And listen, he's not a listener to this podcast, but I will tell you, that's the last guy you want to be on the field, and he's got a bright future, so he needs to put this one behind him. It's D-Joe. We used to say it all the time. Don't jump. It's the main thing, and we need to know a little situational football up front, but it's the main thing you have to know if you're a defensive player in a situation like that. I mean, are they running a play? So that dude probably feels terrible, but the good news for him is he kind of fell on the grenade for Zacchaeus and some of the other guys that made mistakes, and obviously the guys for the Steelers, they get to win a game and go home. So really gutsy. The calls, I know Zach Ertz, that spot is going to be heavily parsed. I thought the initial spot was a little bit short, right? But it would have been tough to overturn it. I understand all that. Like, both teams probably feel like they didn't get all the calls. I mean, if you're a Commanders fan, you say, what the fuck are you talking about? TJ Watt got held in the end zone. That's 2 points. Seriously, holding in the end zone, safety. It's right there. It's on camera. So, I mean, calls, they're not great if you haven't noticed around the NFL. I thought it was just a really gutsy win. And Lattimore is going to help this team a lot, as you noticed today. I won't go into it any more than that. We can talk about it more on the show tomorrow. But Lattimore, who they rested for this big game coming up with the Eagles, basically saying we don't want to push it, got a hamstring. Also, Wiley down, had to give Watt a lot of chip help. That is going to be a big game. And the Eagles, man, the Eagles. Notice I waited. I did the Steelers first. Can't call me a homer. I'm not going to spend too much time on this game because it was a blowout. It was a boat race. I mean, it was an absolute walk into your trap, take over your trap, in the words of Kirk Cousins. 40 points a game the last 5 games. That's what Dallas has been giving up at home. It's a house of horrors. I tell you all this sometimes. My old coach, Greg Williams, who some might call infamous. This has nothing to do with that whole thing. That's my dog, by the way. So he used to say, lock the gates. Lock the gates. And that sounds like nothing, but when you got your foot jammed up somebody's ass for 60 minutes, it's kind of painful for the other individual. 3-legged foot race to the hospital. That's what my old football coach used to tell me. If you jump off sides, we're going to have a 3-legged foot race to the hospital. So that's what was going on in Dallas today. It's like you lock the gates in the NFL, and when things go bad at the end of that game, when Trey Lance is in the game, and they're turning the ball over 5 times. And it's like I'm watching Mike McCarthy look at his play sheet, and the thought actually popped in my head. If I were Mike McCarthy, would I want to keep my job or get fired right now? Because honestly, the worst punishment I think Jerry Jones can put him through is to make him coach this team. Seriously. Honestly, this is worse than being fired. Jerry Jones is a fucking genius. He's diabolical. He's just going to, I mean, maybe he's fired by tomorrow. I don't know. But like, it is a shit show. That is a team with a star on its helmet. An entire generation of people like me grew up watching that team, and somehow we've convinced ourselves because of the media, there's a legacy media, that this team's still good or relevant. Like every year, even when they're not good. They've done this before. I mean, not this bad. I think the last time they were this bad was, we looked it up, 2015. I know they had a bad year in 2020, and Dak got hurt and everything a couple years back. But this team is a dumpster fire, man. It's bad. It's bad. Can we flex the Cowboys out of Monday night, please? Pretty please? Can we pass some sort of legislation wherein we don't hold America hostage? America's team has turned into like a team that holds you hostage. They had Romo on that game. And I know my birds are playing, but that's brutal. I don't want to watch that shit.
We're going to feel like the Germans.
No, that's what it was. The people in Germany, I'm telling you, you got to look into this. Fucking NATO, you got to look into this. No, for fucking with NATO. You got to look into this. That's an act of war. You don't send the Panthers and Daniel Jones to Berlin or wherever the fuck it is without expecting that a full-scale World War III is going to break out. You know what I mean? The quarterback play from Daniel Jones was incredible. And by that, I mean it's incredible that we subjected an entire international fan base to that game. There's people in fucking Halloween costumes, basically. It's just people dressing as like Trevor Lawrence and like other people that aren't even in the game. There's like jerseys of every team. People are just eating this shit up, and you serve them slop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some more sloppy for you.
Yeah, I like them sloppy. That's bad, dude. So really bad. But the Cowboys, man, they're the Keystone Cops. They called them Keystone Cops on TV. There were Eagles chants in the press box that you could hear in the press box at AT&T Stadium. CeeDee Lamb got blinded by the sun. Your owner, I'm going to build the biggest stadium. It's going to have the biggest fucking hole in it directly where the sunlight seeps in. At every late window 4 p.m. game, I'm going to blind my players. And it's just going to be them that have to deal with it. He couldn't see the ball. It's like poetry, dude. That stadium sucks. It's just too much, dude. It's too much. Case in point, the solar death ray that hit CeeDee Lamb in the face, dude. It's crazy. It's like right in the end zone. Jalen Hurts looks pretty good. Even when he's taking care of the football, he looks pretty good right now. Yeah, I got into Fred's last night. You see this? On my wrist. Okay, so also met Paul Skeens. That's how I say his name?
Yep.
He's big as fuck, dude. He's like baseball Josh Allen. He's like he really is. I thought he was a tight end. I apologize. I was like, dude, I didn't even know it was you, bro. Like, yeah, you're a dog, bro. I thought you were like some former tight end, dude. Like back for the weekend, dude. That guy's huge. The guy's huge. He's a hoss. So Jalen Hurts looked really good in some spots, man. And I think he has looked. I would make a case for Jalen Hurts generally looking as good as he looked in a year, as of late. You know, I don't know. It's not an. I didn't study it, but some of the balls he's throwing outside the numbers, that looks like, you know, that looks like vintage, if there is such thing as a vintage Hurts AJ Brown connection, the vertical passing element, and Saquon is must-see TV. Little scamper in the red zone, you catch, and you know it's like 7 yards, but it's like nobody makes you say wow like him with the ball in his hands every Sunday. And I thought the end of the half was such a huge moment. You talk about this team hadn't won in Dallas in a while. Like, it's just not something they do generally, right? Like, Dallas has been a house of horrors. And for a team like the Eagles to come in and do this, where at the end of the second quarter, you're kind of like, fuck, are we leaving them in this game? And then to go 85 yards in 84 seconds or whatever it was, that was the big deal. And get Dak off the sideline, please. There was a moment late in this game, I don't know if y'all saw this, where the microphone guy, I'm holding my kid's cards. It's J.J. Watt. Myles Garrett. God, he's got some good cards. All right, so at the, you know, what the fuck was I talking about right there?
You were about to talk about Dak. on.
I was trying to think about, like, can I profit off my kids a little bit here?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, they're not in great
Dak
condition.
We need to get
No,
Dak
but so
together.
Dak has a hamstring that they said is bad enough. They might not play the rest of the year, and it's like off the bone, right? And he's standing on the sideline, and dudes are running into him. Like he almost got trucked. They knocked the camera guy over, and they're showing the replay, and I'm like, that's fucking Dak. Get him off the field. You said it. They still found a way to hit Dak, get Dak hit. He's not even on the field. So the Eagles slayed the dragon. I feel bad for Trey Lance. I just do. Maybe he doesn't deserve to be felt bad for. He's got a pretty good life, the whole thing. But I saw like grown men about to cry in that stadium. And the streak did not end, Reid. Speaking of grown men about to cry, Reid, you took it like a G, the Broncos meltdown.
I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The script is written.
Yeah. Cowboy Reid, Broncos fan here, he said it before it happened. He goes, it's going to be blocked.
Yep.
That's two. We did both. We've done that. Yeah. Yeah. He goes, I know how this ends. And it was. And a streak can be very real because they have not won there since 2015. Did I see that?
I think that's right.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's the stuff that seeps into your head when you're driving 5.5 minutes and, you know, it's perfect. It's laid out. It's over, right? And then Chenal, who Spag said, strong as an ox, strongest guy on the team, making a huge play on special teams. Great teams find different ways to win in the NFL. Great teams find different ways to win. It's not all style points. This team is undefeated, and you look at them, they got a big tilt with the Bills this week. Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. Now, here's what's interesting, Cowboy. If they run the table, which, you know, the Bills game's huge. I think the Chargers game's no walk in the park. Plus, the way they play, they can lose any game, right? Because sometimes they play down for a while. But if they're undefeated at the end of the season, wouldn't it be interesting? And we've seen it before, basically. But with you know, being undefeated and then playing the Broncos January 5th, probably resting starters.
Mm-hmm.
So you can play spoiler at the very
Play
least,
spoiler.
and probably play to get into the playoffs, hopefully
Exactly.
for y'all.
Exactly.
But they might not want that team in the playoffs.
Right.
As I'm talking it out.
Yeah.
You know, like that might be one of those situations where you're like, I don't
I don't
know.
want to even have a chance to see them.
Because that team matches up pretty well.
Really well.
They really do.
Like,
So,
yeah.
no, I mean, fuck. I'm not going to say – I'm going to save some of the analysis for tomorrow, but Mahomes missed some throws. He missed Worthy. He missed Kelsey in the end zone. And I'm not dismissing that stuff. He's had issues this year, relatively speaking. But in this week's edition of Mahomes being absolutely motherfucking inevitable, twin 3rd and 13s, the one to P. Ryan, where it's like he's got Vaseline on his shoulder pads.
It was ridiculous.
It's crazy. He's like a spitball pitcher.
Yeah.
Bro, it's he breaks the pocket, hits P. Ryan. The other one, he had another 3rd and 13 to D-Hop. A little flick of the wrist. And every big moment, Kelsey, every big moment, 4th and goal, sticks, 3rd and 4, whatever it is. When you have D-Hop and he takes the best cover guy, you know, Kelsey's, I mean, like against a defense like that, there's going to be matchups that he likes. And there were matchups today that I'm like, damn, that's a good matchup for Kelsey. So definitely helps having another guy in D-Hop who was a big part of this game. And I love watching him and Pat Surtain battle. That's like two alphas, absolute alphas. Corner, wide receiver, two of the most competitive damn positions on the team in the league. And when guys are competitors like those two, it brings something out in both of them. Did you see that? I haven't seen Pat Surtain. Pat Surtain plays his ass off. He locks everybody down. But I haven't seen him that interested in beating somebody's ass as he was today.
It's like Devontae Adams
Yeah.
a year ago.
He was.
I fear God.
Yeah, fear God, homie. So throws him out of bounds, the whole thing. Like they're going back and forth. And I just thought, like on the other side, Cortland Sutton, who really in some big spots got the best of Trent McDuffie, just in a couple spots.
Yeah.
But the one thing he's going to want back is the drop at the end of the half.
Yeah.
And you know, he had him set up for the game-winning field goal. Manned up, You know, he got open, but he's going to want that little stretch back. And Bo Nix played well, man. Like when you're completing the ball to 8, 9 different guys in the first half in the game, you know, first 9 completions, 7 different guys or whatever it was, whatever the graphic was, it's a testament to his development right now. And it's also a testament to Sean Payton's a bad boy. Sean Payton is a bad boy. I mean, Spags is a great D coordinator. And for multiple drives in the first half, they were just chunking them. Perimeter stuff, run game, you know, just stretching the zones out, stretching the defense out, and then dumping it underneath, clearing people out. He just knows how to get people open and play the numbers game and the run game and the whole thing. So this is a group that will continue to get better. You know, you guys can be excited about that. But Bo Nix has to learn not to run straight backwards when he sees pressure up the middle or on the edge. You know, there's one condensed formation that they brought edge pressure on early in the game, and he just runs backwards, 17-yard loss. So, you know, and you talked about the one where you might kick a field goal, if not for a big loss. But I thought Bo Nix did some good things, and I thought the Chiefs did a really good job on him as a runner. I think Spags told him, hey, when you get free, this guy likes to bail. Keep running. Don't slow down. He's going to run straight backwards. He's going to get himself into trouble. And when you watch Uzama, I think it was, play the quarterback option late in the game, 97. What the hell is he at? Yeah, Uzama. When he played the option late in the game, he just did a great job. It's like they're just well coached, heated him up in the second half. Chiefs know how to win, man. Chiefs know how to win. So the streak is still alive. I hate to tell you that, Reid. Mahomes, that's a bad boy, including dragging Cooper on the sideline to get to 4th and 1. He's just a bad boy, dude. He's just a bad boy. Like, people might hate it, but the guy's just a badass. And for people online who saw some video of Mahomes on a hot mic saying, hey, can you tell me if he's getting close, and framed it as asking the official. This is a real thing that happened this afternoon. Patrick Mahomes asked an official to warn him when a guy's about to hit him. That's the way it's framed. Do you think critically ever? Like, do you ever think things out to their logical end? Are you saying that you believe it's possible that Patrick Mahomes is asking a referee to basically, like, when O linemen get beat, they say, look out. You know, they'll yell, like, I beat a guy, and they're here, throw it. You think you think he's asking out loud? What kind of the Super Bowl is played in a fucking hangar situation do you think this is? I mean, honestly, he's getting them to warn him about a tackle being too far back. Probably. Not everything is a damn football conspiracy. Incredible, Patrick Mahomes. There's a lot of good football this week. Can't wait to talk about it tomorrow. Good one tonight. What time is that one?
We've got 10 minutes.
Hey, and your boy is on a friggin' heater. 5-0 last week, 4-1 this week. That makes 9-1. And absolutely just curb stomping this app. I'm sorry, BetMGM. I'm on top right now. All right.
The chat wants to know how you feel about the Texans uniforms tonight.
Oh, I actually like that. They could probably call them like Code Red or something. Yeah. Code Red. Sounds like a Gatorade, doesn't it? Yeah. Chat. I appreciate y'all so much. Obviously, I forgot to say earlier, I heard calling Baton Rouge too, but I was really into the Mel McDaniel.
Yeah,
as I should be. Everybody take care. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock live. Be there.